So here we've got an opportunity to fill it up with more trees, but maybe it should just be plains. Maybe we should open this up a little bit. Otherwise it can get a little bit too overwhelming. Go back to my mountain layer. And what I sometimes do with beaches, I saw this done on a map once when I was much younger. It's almost like wave ripples on the shore to indicate that this is a lake. I contemplated putting an island in the middle of it, but I thought, you know, we've got the fjords, which will give us all the water aquatic adventures we could possibly want. I mean, do we really need an island in the middle of this lake? No, I don't think so. And that is, I suppose it's a artistic choice, really. We have filled this thing up with a lot of potential things. I mean, if you were an adventurer and you looked here, you go, oh wow, that looks pretty damn sharp. Something that you can do to change the scale to make it feel as if this is actually almost half a continent or whatever would be to dot little villages around the place, and they can literally be dots. They don't have to be drawn as we've done with the rest, but they would just help improve the scale, because at the moment there's nothing that indicates scale. How big is this map? So you can't go by the trees. The trees are all different scale. They're purely decorative. So that would be a way of increasing the scale of the map so that it feels like they journey for weeks rather than just days, if you want. Not sure what I'm going to do with it. And you add in almost last, just before you put the names in, which we'll do. Oops. There's no right or wrong way of doing this, by the way. I mean, it's just an idea to make it feel more water-like, a little bit different. So I'm happy with that. Now what we've got to do is we've got to put in this city, and make it feel like a decent-sized city, which is not difficult. We'll just be drawing a lot of buildings. And then we come to the yellow area, so I'm quite excited about that. Alright, we want this to feel like it's quite impressive. Now the trick is, you start drawing from the front back when you're doing these kind of non-perspective-y map things. So I'm going to start down here with a tower, which I'll put a little window in and a little bit of brickwork here and there just to give it some detail. I just want to check the scale. Yeah, it's about right. Because that will determine literally the whole thing. And then I'm going to put another tower here. Similar kind of scale. And then I draw my crenellated wall. Again, skill is not so important here as idea, I think. That's the lie that I'm telling myself, and I'm going to stick with it. Alright, so there's our wall there. We'll put a tower. So let's think about this now. They've got this big lake right next to them. I think they should have some docks. So I'm going to erase plus to increase the brush size, remember? It's in your keyboard. I'm going to erase some of these lines. And I'm going to create the last of our crenellated towers. There Crenulations or teeth, more like. Okay, then I'm going to draw wooden docks. Docks are always fun. Sticking out into the lake just to indicate the city does do water trade. We're going to need some warehouses next to those docks. Maybe with a crane or some such structure. That's awful. I know. Another roof, another building. Some such like that. Put something in there to indicate docks. Right, and against this wall we're going to have a long building. I'm not sure what it is, but the idea is to make it feel like a working little town. So there's some smoke coming out of this roof. Alright. Do some building detailing there. We'll have a street, for example. Then let's do another roof here. Give it a little bit of character. Drop that down there. Shingle roof, maybe. Well, I don't know what that is, but that's the roof detailing. Accept it and move on. Alright, let's do a tower. Towers are always fun to give cities height. And we'll put a cockerel on top. A globule. It's a swan, that's what it is. It's a swan tower. It's famously known as Swan Tower. Let's do some more roofing over here. See why you've got to draw from the front, so you don't know what that is. It's a thing. It's a thing, just accept it. Right. Maybe draw on a bigger roof, not a church, but maybe it's an inn of some kind. I'm really just mucking about to make this little city feel like it's full of promise. It is the biggest city, biggest city on this side of the map anyway. So we want the players to feel like they can go there and have a look and see what they can see. Let's do a pitched roof here. it's a conglomeration of bits and bobs. Then I'm going to put in. We're going to make this have a little bit of a cliff. All right, with a road, set of stairs. Not sure what you'd call it. But the idea is that in the heart of the city is where the castle will be. And those are built up around the edge of that building. Trucks are busy today. Finish off buildings here. And there's our plateau where we want more towers. And I always draw my towers like this. I mean, I don't know why, it's just a thing. So, but what's nice about that is my players automatically recognize that, oh yeah, that's a tower, when they see this bizarre cactus-like thing. All right, so not sure what that is. Right, so that's the docks. They don't have a wall on this side because they don't need to. So that means I probably need a wall here just to finish off into the lake. Right. Do that. And then have this big, grandiose tower sticking at the top. Because remember, we indicated in this green circle that this is the size of the city. So in order to not draw 10,000 buildings like we did with the trees, I'm going to make this really dramatic castle. Give it a flag. Because everyone needs a flag. Right. There, that looks pretty dramatic, I think. That certainly will allow the players to realize there is a big castle there. Now we carry on with building our village. Well, it's not a village, is it? Not by any stretch of the imagination. This is a full-on fortress castle. Probably need another tower. Yeah. To indicate that it is completely surrounded by wall. More buildings. Water feature or something in the middle there. Okay, so the mess is growing. I do feel, where would you come in from? So assumedly you've journeyed through there, you've come in through there, so we need a bridge. So I'm going to erase geography. Dum dum dum. Just until I have enough to build my bridge. calling that a bridge. Right. Then we need... Now I'm violating my own rules here. But no, I'm not. We need our towers to start again. Go up to the gatehouse. Which the players will have to look for. Map of madness. There's a little tents or something. Right, so there's the main entrance hall, and just to make it a little bit more obvious, I'll give them a flag or two. And our road coming in from there. Alright, and we kind of done with the fortress now. We put a tower there, a few more walls in there. Just finish that off there. Alright, so there is that. Draw the road. I forget. Bridge. Probably now I have to draw my road through here to become a little bit more commercial than wilderness. Survival. Not sure where the road goes from there. Alright, now this city needs fields. I created a new one called fields because, again, I'm not sure exactly what those fields are going to look like. So by creating a new layer, I can always just delete them and start again. Right, the field is basically a square with rows in it. Bear in mind, bear with me, don't start laughing just yet. With plants growing in it, right? It's like the world's biggest barbed wire convention or something. Oh, we can do that to indicate plant growth as well. I can live with that. Alright, and then I've got a little low wall. Yeah. Alright, so that's fine. That's fine. I can live with that. I can live with that. And then probably start another one here. And right up there. Apparently the farmers thought that one little spike of land would be useful. Now, again, just because it's a field, when your players walk through it, it's not just a field, it's an entire region devoted to crop growing with hundreds of little patchwork fields everywhere, separated by stone walls and little hedgerows. And I mean, really, it just depends on your setting, but it is just representative of scale. I think that's something that people need to accept. I've never had anyone really complain about my maps except for my geography being incorrect. Mountain ranges not blocking flow of clouds, causing deserts in the wrong place, and the usual kind of stuff. That's fine. they can draw better maps and are happy to do so, well, then I encourage them to go off and draw their own maps, because then I can use them and I don't have to draw them. Although I do enjoy, in some perverse way, get a sense of satisfaction out of finishing up a map with a lot of detail in it. I think I want a little village out here. Don't know why. But I think a little farming community might be good. For morale. Gives the players somewhere to go if they are in trouble in the city. Little hen house there. I'm not sure. Anyway, so there's a little village that will have fields running right up to its front door. A little farming community. I really want the players to get a sense that this is land that has been worked. This is a bit of civilization in amongst the chaos that is the rest of the map. If it is chaos, I mean, I don't know. Also counts the clearance of the trees. And I'm purposely leaving that one field without detailing in it, by the way, because I think some fields are left fallow. Oops. It's a horrid one. You sometimes need that. I'm going to put a tree in here. I don't know why trees need to go here, but there's a little forest in there. Right, I can live with that. I don't think they'd go too far. Aren't what I will do though is draw tree stumps. These are my tree stumps. To indicate that that's where they're now cutting into. Okay, let's pop out and have a look. Our thriving little community. I think that worked pretty well, especially if I take away the blue. Get a sense of that castle and the little village that's surrounded, well, the city that's surrounded. I think that works quite nicely. I'm quite happy with that. Overall, we look at our map and, well, I think we've got a very interesting space in which to play. There's all sorts of little designs and things littered about that would give the players something to look at, and I think that's working quite nicely. All right, so now we're going to move into the yellow part of our operations. Where we are going to have to try and outdo ourselves because we've so much detailing in here. Have less detailing in here would be a problem, but we want to overpower the map as well. So we know we've got this road coming in here, we've got that road leading to that city there, so we've got the city to deal with. Now, how do we make... Oh yes, I had a plan. Involved trees though, so I'm nervous about that. Okay, so this was my thinking. This road continues and it follows the lay of the land, right? All the way down to our major city. And we need a way of getting out of the map. So we have a road which finds its way through there and off to Birmingham, wherever it's going to go. We'll do the same with the road here, by the way. I'm going to have this road split and follow the line of the trees out north. Village. Then we can have a road going south as well. Right. Off to the south. One coming out here. Right, so there's our roads put in place under the vital fields. Oh, and this road. Actually, now I'm going to connect that. Paused for thought. I'm going to think about that. Right, so now this area here is going to be trees. More trees, my favorite. Trees. Going to be special trees, aren't they? Right, so always working the reference. That's about right. These trees out in the middle of nowhere because I've very seldom come across a forest that just starts, that hasn't been interfered with by man. Usually the light wooded foothills slowly give way to the more dense forest. So that's why I'm doing this quickly. This is the border of the forest, so I am plan on that. Right. Good. All right, so that's the outer edge of the forest. Now, what I wanted to do in there was to create another space that the players could come and romp around in, without being too many trees. I mean, there's forests everywhere. The great park forests up here and over there, although that's not so thick. I mean, again, depends on scale, right? There's lots of forest in the upper half of the map. The bottom half of the map is a bit more sparse. I might fill in a forest here, maybe. I don't know. I'll come back to that. I wanted this area to have a bit of interest. We've got this. So we've got lots of different spots of interest already in that area. We've got the main city with its little fields around it over here. We've got the ziggurat and the longhouse. Not a lot going on up there, so I might come back and rework that. We've got just forest and fjord here, the skull, the mines, the tower. You know, so there is a lot going on this map, and you might think it's too much. In which case you can really spare it down, trim out stuff. For me, the more I have, the more opportunities I have to give adventures to my players. I'm going to finish off my a statue here. It's not the first statue I've done on this map. I don't laugh. It's meant to be a wolf. Lying on its haunches. bushy tail. A wolf or a squirrel? Who knows? And I want that there for a very specific reason. Now that's a giant statue, and I think I'm going to keep it mega in size as well. Because it's going to mark the entrance to a very important area. One that I've been hinting at quite a lot. Oops. And which I will get to eventually. Here we go. Right, planning. Whether this works or not, I don't know. Tree villages, does it work, do you think? I don't know, but I think it's something quite dramatic. Something that inspires stories, so I count it as a success. Could be elves living here, could be fae, could be anything really. Little trees, yeah, I think that works on a certain level. That's 100% zoomed in. I could go with that. So now I'm not going to fill up this whole area with these giant trees. I'm going to have a really sprawling city. I'll tell you what I'm going to do right now. Yeah, is put in a little bit of a lake. this outline here. What are you doing? What are you doing? Right. I carry on with Happy Tree Friends. There are so many ways of drawing trees. For me, the important thing is just to be able to differentiate this forest from the northern forest, which is a colder, harsher forest. It should inspire you as a game master to tell a different tale. It obviously will smell different. What is that scent? Creatures that inhabit it might be different. The herbs, the flowers, the fungus, all that kind of stuff to me is important to bear in mind. And by having it in a different looking forest, it inspires you, or hopefully reminds you, hey, this is different. Make sure that players realize that. That's I think one of your job as the GM is to ensure there is this clear differentiation between environments. And if the players aren't picking up on that, then something is amiss. And unfortunately, that is your description, not being sufficiently different, or maybe just not being there at all. So that's something to really think about. Alright, so there's my tree city. I don't think I'm going to continue it too much further. It might be quite dramatic though to have these stretched out. Give a sense of just how big this kingdom, residence, whatever, whomever is doing this is. Give it a bit of gravity actually. Supposed to be a road bridge. Again, the intention is just to show that they are connected and that you can move from one to t'other as needed. determined exactly. Yeah, I think probably no. I'll do some more trees. I think I'll do more trees up that way. More fields from the city here, that's without a doubt. But I'll do some more trees in here just quickly. Color here might make it more obvious who's or what's going on, but as long as I remember that this is a foresty city. And I'll be happy. A certain excitement to be finished with forest. That's okay, forests are not uniform. Not usually, anyway. Right, there's our forest. What happens on the other side of that river? Should it be more forest? Should it really be more forest? I think it possibly should be, just to really give a sense of the lushness and to give quite a big difference in feeling to our swamp territory. Swamp territory, entrail territory, I'm not sure exactly what one calls a living, rotting corpse. A living, rotting corpse. I mean, just the name is contradictory, isn't it? Another tree again in my life. But I think that was important to get it all the way up there. Oh yes, before I forget, let's go and sort that lake out. Okay, so I think we're making remarkable progress. We've got basically just the center of the map to do, and then we're done. And I think that this area is going to be relatively open, mostly fields. I wanted to feel fairly normal. I'm almost thinking that this is a great starting map for young adventurers, because for an early level campaign, this area could keep them busy for a long time, just with all the various options and things, and make for quite a dramatic story. Now, depending on your campaign, some campaigns, like I've got the one that I run online, Bacon RPG on YouTube, that, for example, is designed to go all over the world. Whereas you don't have to necessarily have that. You can have it localized to a small spot, a small territory, where something like this, for example, where once we've determined the scale, we could be looking at anywhere between a sort of a 20-mile by 20-mile radius, which is, I think, going to work for our purposes. Anyway, I'm going to take a break and I'll be back.